Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Infuse You podcast. My name is Teresa, and I am your host. The goal of this podcast, when it started years ago, was to help women and young girls fill up their cups through self care, awareness, and empowerment. That goal has not changed, but it has expanded through the journeys of other women who have a testimony to share. I will provide a space for those other women to share their authentic selves in the hopes that someone listening will feel empowered, will learn, and will gain something. So today, my special guest went from teen mom to trauma informed mentor. Brittany Aiesha is a transformational speaker, an author, and founder of local nonprofit Girls2Women LLC. Girls2Women LLC is a mentorship organization that is dedicated in the healing and empowering women and youth. Raised in deep poverty by a single mother, Brittany's story includes surviving childhood trauma, suicide attempts, undiagnosed dyslexia, and cycles of domestic abuse. Despite all of these challenges, she has taken her pain and she has turned it into her purpose. She is now creating safe spaces for others to grow, to heal, and to transform. So a few months ago, Brittany's team reached out. They found me on Instagram. And since then, we have connected. I've learned more about her journey, and I'm super excited to have her on today's episode to share with you what she's doing in the community, not only for herself, but for other women and young girls. So, welcome, Brittany, and thank you for saying yes to this interview. Before we dive in, if you can share with the listeners, what is your favorite life quote? Something that you tell yourself daily or that you live by that helps you get through the day.
Hi, Teresa. Hi. Thank you for having me, girl. Oh my
You're
God.
welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Um, what? Listen, when it comes to quotes, I'm a biblical girl. I use my Bible app,
All
and
right.
my favorite scripture that I live by is Luke 145. It's even on the back of the Girls to Women shirts. Blessed is she who believes the Lord will fulfill his promises to her. That is my quote. That is my scripture. That is my favorite thing to live by. And the reason being is because even when I'm in doubt, even when I'm in fear, believe it or not, out of all the scriptures out of that I've ever read, this is the only one that I can memorize. I've never been able to memorize any other scripture but this scripture. And I think it's because it says, blessed is she who believes that the Lord will fulfill his promises to her. So no matter what I go through, no matter how broken I might feel, no matter the challenges and the obstacles ahead against me, like as long as I can believe that he's gonna come through, he's gonna come through. He's gonna work it out. And that's what Luke 145 says. So that's my favorite one, girl. That's my favorite one.
Yes, I love it. Yes, and I'm a believer of the Most High, and He will work it out. No matter what you're going through in life, if you believe in Him and you have Him on your side, everything will be okay. So,
Yeah.
before we dive into the questions that I have for you, can you please share a little bit more about your life, your family, your career, whatever you can share? I know that based on our conversation, there's limited amount that you can share about your career. So, I'll just let you go
Yes.
ahead and share what you can.
I will say that I specialize in behavioral health for both young adults and adults. Significant trauma, in those who has had sex trafficking experiences or encounters. For me, oh my God, I love working with the youth. I cater to the youth, is do that privately. That is my sacred space. I love that space because it's easier for me to mentor them and help them and guide them along the way and help get them out of those dark places that I feel that I've once experienced. I was a troubled teen. I am a teen mom. I was a teen mom. I got pregnant at the age of 18, had my son at the age of 19, high school dropout. Oh my God, very feisty, very upset, always fighting, in and out of juvenile court system. I grew up in a single parent household. I am the oldest of five. So there's a lot of expectations set on the oldest, of course. I've always shared my mother with the people in my community. She's always been like, the mother, in the neighborhood, always had an open door for everybody. So that's where I feel I grew my heart for sisterhood and grew my emotion to want to cater to other people. It was like embedded in me. It's just like what surrounded me, like what I seen growing up, what I lived through. I mean, it may have been 10 people living in my house at one time. 10 people living in a home of 3 bedroom and 1 bathroom. Can you imagine that? So
Yeah.
with that being said, I know how to share. I know how to share. I know how to give. I know how to provide. I know how to stretch. And so I got tired of living with the trauma instead of uh working through it. I got tired of it. It kept putting me in a place that everything felt extremely uncomfortable. So I needed an outlet. And that is when a vision came to me. Just why not create your own sisterhood? Why not create your own organization? Why not create something from all of these broken emotions that you feel? Make it, beauty for ashes. So that's where we're
I
at
love
with
it.
that.
I love
That's
it.
how it started.
So we're gonna start the interview by having you touch a little bit on your experience. I know you've already started as a teen mom, the trauma that you faced, and then we're gonna talk about your transformation and the decision to start Girls2Women LLC. So my first question is, what were some of the biggest obstacles that you faced as a young mother, and then what internal resources were available to you, or what external resources were available, and how did they help you get through being a teen mom?
Let's see. Well, I was very popular in my neighborhood growing up. Everybody loved me. This big red bone yellow girl that was always everywhere at all of the house kickbacks, all of the home parties, just a pleasant spirit to be around. And I always say now I went from being the life of the party to the light in the room. As the younger version of myself, the girl version of me, I was the life of the party. As I began to experience transformations in different areas that I needed to grow in life, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all of those things, that's when I feel that I transferred into more so the light in the room. I got pregnant with that baby of mine, and he's my baby because I only got one. So, you know how I go. Your mama do not play about her son. He's 15 today, but he's still 5 to me. Very sheltered, very sheltered. I love my baby so much. But when I got pregnant with him, I remember, everybody loved me. They loved me coming to the parties. You know, I was 15 years old and my friends was 25. I had 25-year-old friends at the age of 15. They had their own houses, cars. They was letting me drive their cars, letting me ditch school and skip school. And I was hanging with the adults. My friends was 10 years older than me. I had some childhood friends that I went to school with. Those were the friends that my mother approved of. But those friends was boring to me. They wanted to go to the high school game and I wanted to go to the bar where I could lie about my age, and I could pull it off because I was fully developed. I was fully developed. You big breasts, big behind, wide, shaped up, beautiful, full lips. I was fully developed, so I could lie, easily. But my friends that was in school, they couldn't lie. They still looked like kids. But I looked like the 25-year-olds who I liked to be around. They was my role models and stuff like that. And they let me have all the different experiences that I wanted to have. And so I would ditch school to go hang with them and different things like that. And when I got pregnant, now they started at about the age of 15. So when I got pregnant at 18, they told me, no, you gonna have to get an abortion. You can't have that baby. You was the baby. Now I can't have the baby. Y'all have been letting me do all this grown people stuff. I done been driving y'all cars, house sitting for y'all. Y'all sneaking me into the bars. I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm ditching school. All of these things. Just having a blast. Having a blast. And y'all, I done got pregnant. Now y'all telling me you can't have that baby. You can't have that baby. And I said, I'm gonna have my baby. As I'm gonna get my life together. Even going through all of those things, God will still speak to me. He will still utilize me, and I knew it was something different gonna happen for me in my life. I knew I would evolve into something. I just didn't know at that time. So for me, my mother, as a single mother of 5, I was the oldest. Okay. She had everybody to cater to under me. You know, it's like when you got a wild and out of control teenage child, you do the best you can. But back then in my day, back then when I was 15 and between the ages of 15 and 18, when I got pregnant with the baby, my family and nothing around me or the community that I lived in knew anything about behavioral health services. Behavioral health services have been around for decades and they are available. But some families grow up believing that if you go seek these services, you are crazy, you're slow, you're less than. You know, you're going to a mental hospital. Why? Why are you going to hospital? That's insane. And they look at you different. You become the black sheep or the ugly duckling because you need to go receive these services available to you. And it's absolutely nothing wrong with it. God has blessed the psychologist to do what the psychologist does, and as well as the therapist, as well as anybody else, just like those who work at General Motors or those who work in the beauty salons. I mean, people get into the career fields that they get into because they have a passion to serve and help people. But when back in my day, that wasn't available. That wasn't available. And I didn't have anybody to place in me in an out of control teen program or a substance abuse program, somewhere locking me down to fill me with the proper education and knowledge. You know, it was nothing to stop me from self sabotaging. And so that's where my passion comes from for the youth. That's why I'm the way that I am about young adults and young girls that I see walking the blade or, you know, doing whatever that they think they may need to do at this time. This is how I have the wisdom that I have and the power and authority that I have to bring knowledge and giving them the education because I had to have those experiences with no assistance. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It said, hold on. Oh, there you are. I can see you. Your camera went off for a little bit, but you're back.
Yeah. But I had to have those experiences with no education and no knowledge. Everyone around me wanted to voice what I should be doing, but their actions didn't match with their words. And so it took a lot of trial and error for me to learn that, you know, the action must be there. No one is going to sit back and listen to you without actually putting in the work and the guidance and the tools. So that's what brought my passion about with creating a safe space for women no matter where they are, because you stop developing eventually where you thought that you grew. So if you had to grow up early, 15, 16 years old, you know, you stop developing there at that point, at some point. And then now you're living and you're behaving like a child. Now you don't know what you're worth. Now you don't know your worth. Now you don't know what you're capable of because you grew up too fast. You should have been operating in normalcy as a normal teenage girl. But when you had to start operating as you were 25 at 15, even though you had lack of knowledge, even though you had lack of wisdom, because you're not the adult. You're not in the proper place.
Mhm.
Even though you lack these things, now you're forced to meet yourself where you never were, if that makes sense. And so that's why a lot of women um in the I don't want to say I don't a lot of women struggle with challenges and don't know like they don't have the proper etiquettes when it comes to like a salad fork or a steak fork or, you know, just a few different things that could help them feel more confident and secure
Mhm.
in who they are, in their identities and what they deserve. You know, a lot of us lack that because we whether it was self-inflicted or involuntarily, you know, whether we wanted to do it or not do it, you know, a lot of us grew up in communities where we struggle and with many different challenges. And with that being so, that's what pushed me, my encounters, my experiences to create a safe space for women to come and just be themselves no matter where you're at, no matter what, if you dropped out of school, if you don't feel like you're smart enough, if you don't feel like your body is tea, if you don't feel like you have the support, if you just want support, that's what made me want to create Girls to Women. It's like the name, I don't even know how it came to me. It was just like, as I've been growing and as I've become successful and go through my different challenges, it just like the name came to me 5 years ago, just like girls to women, like going from a little girl to a woman. It's like it's time for you to grow up. It's time for you to accept the accountability. You may be grown in age, but you're just a little girl in the inside. You're just a little girl in the mind. You're just a little girl in the spirit. You may be grown and have a car. You may have a house. Your bank account may have millions of dollars. But mentally and emotionally, you're a
Hmm.
fragile, broken, scared, unsure, underdeveloped little girl, you know? So the name came to me and it said perfect. And I'm like, I'm gonna go all in with this. I'm gonna keep on going. This no transformation is coming with this. So it's just like I gotta take the accountability and go through the experience.
Yeah, you brought up a very good point about people not wanting to get help because in the way that we grew up back generations before, it was taboo to say, I need help. I want to go to a mental health psychiatrist, or I want to go see a therapist. Even still today, when I tell people, like, I went to a grief counselor when my parents died. Well, what do you need to go see a grief counselor for? Because I need them to help me process the trauma that I'm dealing with because I lost my mom. I lost my dad. And so when I
Yeah.
lost my mom, it took me a long time to ask and seek for help. But once my dad passed away, I immediately booked an appointment with the grief counselor because I know how much help it was to me when my mom died to help me process. And I didn't want to wait until 3 months down the line, like I did with my mom, because I had so much built up anger and frustration and pain that it took me that much longer to get through that process. But with my dad, I immediately booked the session. And
Mhm.
not to say I don't miss my dad every day, but I was able to process and move through that pain much quicker because I acknowledged that I needed help from someone else and someone else to talk to and to help me get through that. So people need to understand that it's nothing wrong with seeking help from someone else because we don't have all the answers. And like you said, people pick their passions for a reason. They've gotten training and education in that field for a reason, and
Yeah.
it's okay to ask those people for help.
Yeah.
So, can you briefly touch on? I know you've started sharing a little bit about it, but can you touch on the trauma that you faced during your lifetime? So, whatever you're comfortable with sharing with the listeners, can you just share some of the trauma experiences that you had growing up in your life as a young girl?
Oh, I'm open to it. I'm open to it. I'm open to it. I don't know. A lot of relatives struggled with a lot of my relatives that were responsible for my upbringing and upcoming suffered and struggled with substance abuse. I'm not at all blaming them for, my outcome, but after having my education and childhood trauma and getting the knowledge that I need and the training that I need to be the woman that I am in the career field that I am currently, I do know that it has played a major part in my upbringing, in my mental health, in my emotional health, witnessing different relatives be addicted to substances, whether it's, drugs, alcohol, or however have you, money, even, people would do almost whatever to get their substance, to get their fix. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and just growing up in an environment like that, it's like everything has to be immediate gratification. Absolutely no patience. Everybody's always on the edge in survival mode. No patience to communicate, no patience to talk. Don't really know how to have compassion for others. Even if they feel emotionally, I love this person, I don't want to hurt this person. Their immediate response is with hatred and with hurt because they don't know, they are blinded. Sometimes our judgment is clouded, and even the way we express ourselves can be cloudy, very foggy based upon what we're going through. So if someone is struggling from substance abuse or if they're just not happy with their environment or, mental illness, even, undiagnosed mental illness. Like now that I am where I am, I can see, that this person, yeah, oh my God, they show a lot of characteristics of being bipolar. They show a lot of characteristics of being schizophrenic. They show a lot of characteristics of, being depressed. Growing up with this stuff being unidentified, you are feeling as if you're trapped. It's like you're trapped mentally. It's like something deep within your soul is just like being taunted by something that you can't explain because it's nobody around you identifying it and educating you that these things are perfectly normal. Like they say it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. Like you're not perfect. Like to walk in perfection when there's nobody perfect here on earth and everybody is struggling in a silent battle. I like to use this all the time. You have a lot of different successful people that do things like commit suicide. Okay, they didn't committed suicide with 50 million in the bank. I feel that my problem is finances. I don't ever see myself committing suicide with $50 million in the bank. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But they do.
But you have that. You don't know what people struggle with, you know. So obviously it was something that money could not buy. Obviously it was something that may have been stemming from childhood that they have carried and it has ate them alive just in the nighttime. So for me, without saying too much, because I love my family dearly and I am
Hmm.
grateful to God how we have all evolved and how we have all developed. And now everyone is receiving the proper care that they need. And those of us who, we're still seeking help and supporting each other now, I wish it had been better for us back then and that we had, maximized and utilized, spent more time utilizing resources available to family instead of running away from them due to fear of what
Hmm.
the white man, may say about that family.
Yeah. No, I get it. My family was also too, just like many of our families, addicted to alcohol and drugs. And like you said, back then, people were just saying it's a part of life. Nobody wanted to get help. And we have to learn and grow that it's not, it doesn't have to be a part of life. People go through things, but they should seek help to better themselves because not only are they impacting the lives of their individual selves because they're putting the things in their body and they're affecting their mind, but then that also impacts their loved ones and the people that may be sober and clean, but they see that you're going through this and they can't have a relationship with you
Mhm.
because you're in this world and they're in this world and those worlds don't combine because mentally you're in a space where you see yourself in this light that I'm great. I'm going to do great things. I can be successful. And you have a family member here that says, I don't care about life. God doesn't love me and nothing's going well for me. It's hard for those two things to match up and align because everyone's mentally in different spaces. So I get that, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I'm like I said, most people that are going to be watching this episode has a family member that's dealt with some type of abuse or some type of mental health, and that's why we want to make sure that we're sharing our testimonies and our stories so that people who are still going through those struggles know that it's okay to not be okay and it's okay to speak up and say, hey, I need help. Can you help me? I don't know where to go. I don't have the resources. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Now, if you could go back and talk to the younger Brittany, what is the most important piece of advice that you would offer her?
Get grounded in school,
Be grounded in
show
school. I
up,
like it.
join the student council, participate in absolutely everything you can from those that are educated. That is the cool way. That is the cool route. Continue to be active where girls your age are active. You don't have to grow up fast. You don't. It's not cool. Smoking and drinking early is not cool. Driving without a license is not cool. Going to clubs before you're old enough to go is not cool. Focus. It's okay that you are developed early. You're a big girl. You're beautiful. It's okay that you're that size. Don't listen to the girls your age talking about you. They don't know any better. Learn to deal with peers conflict. Go and see a counselor. Ask to be put in therapy. Learn to advocate for yourself so that you're not tricked out of your spot because the only one that can clean up your mess is you.
Yes. I love the advocate piece. I talk about that a lot. We have to advocate for ourselves, for our children, because nobody else is going to do it. Nobody's going to give you any handouts. If you don't ask, you shall not receive. If you don't speak up, they're not going to tell you. Just like something as simple as going to the doctor and be misdiagnosed. Excuse me. People, it happens to people all the time because they think this doctor has all this knowledge. And yeah, they do. They go to a lot of schooling, but some doctors are just in a rush, or they want to make an assumption that based on these three factors, oh yeah, it has to be that. But we know now with everything that we've learned that I may have the same three symptoms that you have, but we may have two different conditions based on our body types, based on what we're eating, what we're putting into our bodies. So I like that you said you would tell your younger self to advocate. So for all the young people that will be watching us, we want to tell you to advocate for yourself. Speak up if something's
Advocate.
not going right. Don't don't let it fester. Speak up to your teachers, your counselors at school, or your parents, whoever you have in your life that cares about you. Speak up and say something before it's too late. You don't want to let the stuff fester and linger. So, like I said, I'm glad that you called out being an advocate for yourself. So now we're going to talk about your transformation. I'm really
Yay,
excited
that's
to
the
hear this
flavor
part of your
part. That's
story.
right.
I know. So,
Oh, I'm
what
glad.
inspired you? I know that you touched on this a little bit early on, but what inspired you to transition from Brittany, the trauma filled young girl, to Brittany, the woman who is now mentoring other women and young girls who have a similar past as yours?
I transitioned from Miss Plus the Pressure to Brittany Aiesha.
Yes.
Transition from Miss Plus the Pressure to Brittany Aiesha. Oh my God. I remember, so the woman that evolved, the broken woman that was in dark places, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And I covered it all up with artificial happiness, marriage, houses, cars, business, money, anything like that to just to bring me temporary joy. My God, the road has been long. And even now that I feel like I've transitioned from one woman, from the girl to the woman still, I'm still addressing other things. Okay. It's some underlying stuff up in here that I'm still addressing. I'm still like, oh my God, I got more stuff to sweep up. Did you serious? So, oh my God, the transformation. I got tired of being uneducated. I got tired of not, I want to go to college. I want to get a degree in business administration. I have a vision and a passion to help others with that, to help others succeed. You tell me something, I can bring it to life. So I have a passion to help others in that area who, lack the knowledge. Like I said, I was over not being heard from other people. Like if I would ask a question, it was so much gatekeeping, and that mean it was going to require for me to obtain some knowledge. Brittany, it's available to you. Nobody's better than you. Everybody has the same opportunity. We all got the same 24 hours. So in order for you to get in, you
Mm-hmm.
need to focus. You need to break down some walls. It's something that you're not doing right. You're putting your effort into the wrong things. I said, okay, this modeling career, we gonna pause it because it's not even getting the right proper attention. Okay. I wanted to be the plus size Tyra Banks. Okay, it's giving IG baddie. I don't want to be the IG baddie. Okay, that's not what I was going for. All these comments and all of these memes, it was it produced a lot of lust energy. Like a lot of it. It started to come after me. Like, and it still does. Oh my God. But I'm able to withstand the storm a little better now and deal with things better now. De-escalate them a lot better now. But at first, it was like all of the wrong opportunities being presented. It was just like, hold on, I'm worth way more than what is being offered to me. That means I'm being offered what I am producing. Because you are what you attract, you are what you manifest. So I am being offered what I'm giving off. So
Mm-hmm.
Brittany, you got to take all these other aliases and all these other identities. You are who God called you to be, who you are. You are who you were named at birth. You're gonna need to walk in that. I'm gonna need you to walk in your identity. Find out what you truly want. Find out who you truly want to be and work with that. Create healthy boundaries with the people that's in your life. Cut out all the things that are bad for you, all the things that hurt you. Don't keep allowing things to hurt you. So this has been an ongoing journey. And it's just like, it took the self communication, self talks. It took for me to empower myself to get on to something new, to start something new. I had to make I had to make a decision to allow the things that was giving energy to the poor version of me to die. I literally had to make that decision. I'm better than my outfit. I'm better than my shape. I'm better than my pretty face. Will not be a stereotype. I do not want to be an idol. To pray out to God and ask Him to help me to change and convert that into what He wanted it to be. And as time progressed, it went from idol to mentor. It went from IG baddie to self published author. Like it just over time it took time and it's still taking time. I'm not nowhere near where I would want to be and where I'm headed. I know I have a long journey ahead of me, even and still with all the different experiences and encounters. But I will say that if anyone out there is listening and you feel that you are ready to allow parts of you to die that no longer serve you, then I would honestly suggest that you start your journey to transformation because transformation is just the name. The real thing is in the work during the process, during the days, during the months, during the nights, during the storm, during when you feel like you can't defeat the things that want to overpower you. And it's a struggle, especially if you suffer from any psychiatric challenges. It's a struggle. So your consistency, discipline, and signing up for services if you need them, behavioral health services, mental health services will have to go hand in hand in order to see progress. And it takes some time. So I just got tired. I got tired of what was being offered. I knew that I was worth way more. I knew that I would be better than my outfit and me being on stage and people saying that's the prettiest big girl I ever seen in my life.
I love how you said you have to make a decision. There's many people in life who think that others are going to make that decision for them or hold their hand. But you have to decide first if it's going to be for you. And then those people like you who are out there and have these services available, or psychiatric, counselors who are available for people to utilize, they're not going to go find you. You have to raise your hand and say, enough is enough. I'm ready. How do I take the next step? Because we can't force people to want to make a change. And sometimes, we try to do that because that's just who the people we are. We want to help people, but we can't enable them either. They have to make a decision. They say, hey, I'm tired. I'm ready to make a change. Where do I start? So I love that you said you have to make a decision. So, Brittany, can you tell us what it was like to turn your personal story, which was once a source of pain for you, into this powerful tool for connecting and healing others?
It was like a sense of relief. Once you accept the fact that telling your story is not a matter of whether you can trust someone else or not, it's a matter of your deliverance. You are deciding to let it go. You are now taking all of the baggage, everything that you've been holding, everything that you've been keeping a secret. When you become transparent and walk in being an authentic person, just when you claim your identity, that's part of the transformation is just claiming your identity. So when you decide to claim your identity and you pick and choose what that identity is, if you don't want to be promiscuous, you're not going to be promiscuous. If you don't want to be broke, you're not going to be broke. If you don't want to be, struggling with your mental health, you're not going to struggle with your mental health because you're going to go and you're going to get the services. If you don't want to continue to allow your family to abuse you and you want to break generational curses, then you're going to break generational curses. And in order to do those things, it's going to take a lot of courage. So for me, I have heard people, they have tried to tear me down. They have tried to discourage me. I can't believe you went on Facebook and said that. I can't believe you posted that. Why you posting your house? Why you posting this? Why you posting that? Because I grew up in homes where they should have been condemned. where things were inoperable. I grew up where, we had roaches and we had mice. I grew up, we struggled. I grew up, didn't have proper isolation during the winter time. And I'm from Michigan. Ferndale, Michigan to be exact. 8 Mile of Wyoming, a little city outside of the west side of Detroit. So I just say I'm from Detroit.
Everybody
But
knows Detroit.
that's right. That's right. But, so for me, when I can live in a place that's clean for so long, and I would tell these stories, without trying to offend anybody in my family or people that I love, because they get so easily offended because not everybody walks with pride after the story has been told. Not everybody can do that. So, I would post things like, I can't believe I have this apartment. When I would get my first apartment, so beautiful, so nice, so clean and fresh, a renovated place. Blessings on blessings. When you start growing, then the blessings start flowing. You start applying for things, and Jesus just start putting it in your name. And so when I would get my first, yes, girl, I'm telling you, the blessings flow, don't they? And so when I got my
Yes.
first apartment, and I put it, and I would be just looking at the walls and have furniture, nothing. I literally was so traumatized from living with roaches, insects, and things for so long. It was shocking to me to look at my apartment with these beautiful pearly white walls and not see anything foreign crawling up and down. So I would begin to post about stuff like that. And then I would begin to do research about Google. Why am I feeling this way? This before Chat AI came out. I love Chat AI. That's my best friend. Hey, friend. But, when Google, I would Google, why if I'm feeling like this? And then they would pull up things, trauma. Trauma. Maybe this will help you if you talk about it, if you write about it. I mean, this was in the early 2000s that I would start Googling this type of stuff. And I would Google my dreams and Google everything, do research. Research your stuff. Anybody listening out there and you feeling things is uneasy and you just feel that you are out of place and you just don't fit, whether it's in your family or whether it's whatever state you may be living in, start researching your emotions and looking deeper into people who specialize in what you feel because they are ways to help you get answers to the curiosity. So I started speaking about it. And as I started speaking about how I feel, I would get women to message me, oh my God, I was just going through this. And that made me feel good. So it made me feel good to get a random person or a stranger to come to me and tell me that they could resonate with my story. I didn't have to be embarrassed. I didn't have to be ashamed. Although I was taught and I was raised, don't talk about anything outside of this house. Don't you show my business. But when I started to got old enough and was able to advocate, claim my identity, wherever chapter that identity was on, because we're going to be in different phases forever. We'll always be in a different chapter of our own story. You'll always be in a different chapter of your story. You may meet a new character. You may become a new character and meet that character. And so when I began to meet other women like me, I'm like, dang, I'm going to keep on doing this. Let me go ahead and tell them that I'm struggling with promiscuity. Let me go ahead and tell them that I dropped out of school. Let me go ahead and tell them that I didn't find I was dyslexic until I was 30. Let me go ahead and start. I'm about to put it out there. Because I got all these women coming to me from all over the world, places I ain't never traveled, that said that they didn't dealt with this. And we will come together and we will pray and say some empowering words and uplift each other and keep on pressing on. So why stop? Why stop? It's something bigger. It's something bigger than me, right?
Something bigger than you. And people fail to realize that. Like you said, they just, oh, why are you telling people that? Why are you posting all this? Because those DMs that you get, even if it's just one person that says, hey, I just saw your reel, or I just saw your post, do you think you can help me? And that happened to me when I recently had my hysterectomy. I had uterine
Wow.
fibroids, and I was sharing on Facebook and Instagram about it. And I had two friends that reached out that were on the fence about
Wow.
getting theirs removed because they didn't want to go through, the surgery. And I gave them some words of encouragement and told them, your situation is not the same as mine. And, the doctor says everybody's body's different. But this is what I learned from the doctor I went to, and this is what I learned from the research. Like you said, I researched it before I went to the doctor, so I could have some type of knowledge of what I
Yeah.
was going through, what my body was going through. And because I shared my testimony, those two
Hmm.
women that were afraid to go to the doctor and get surgery have since had their fibroids removed. But that's
Wow.
because I wasn't afraid to share.
Sure.
Like you're saying, I wasn't afraid to open up and share.
They probably would have never dig deep. They probably would have never just been taking self-medicating and things like that to press forward and not knowing that there is life after a hysterectomy. Hello. I'll be your
I'm
display.
proof
It's kind of like
right here. So yeah, so that's very true. I mean, and some people just they don't want to share, and that's okay. But for those of us that want to, because we have a purpose for sharing, we're not just saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm going through this." Oh, pity me. We're not sharing it for that. We're sharing it to connect with somebody else that is going through it, done been through it, because maybe they can help us. It may not always be we seeking to help other people. Maybe they can help us. So you never know
yes.
unless you share that story. So people need to, I mean, they need to do what works for them. So, can you share with us are some of the strategies that you use to help women and girls build resilience?
Where do I start? Well, I'm always open for consultations. Those are free. The one-on-one consultations, the one-on-one mentorship with me is free. The guidance is free. I love that. I love to network. I love to fellowship. I just love to pour into other women. So we start there. We also start with jotting down everything. I'm a big believer in journaling. I think that journaling is the key to a lot of our issues because we get to express our thoughts without speaking them. And a lot of times we don't know how to speak what we're feeling. So if you pick up that pen and you pick up that notebook and you begin to write, you're going to eventually get some answers. You're going to get some answers that you need to help solve some of the problems you may be facing. So, my first and foremost is again, a safe space. Girls2Women LLC is a safe space for women to come and speak with anyone about almost anything without feeling judged, without feeling convicted, and things like that. That is first and foremost, empowering my sister to be able to be vulnerable in my space, welcoming them in my space, being authentic in what I had to go through. And I've been through several different things, several different levels of trauma, 7 different levels of abuse, 7 different levels of self sabotaging. I think that I target that right there when I do consultations or even when I am just openly and freely motivational speaking or pouring into my community. I target right there self sabotaging because a lot of us don't know how to forgive ourselves even after that. You have to be willing to forgive yourself after that. Because if you can't forgive the way that you have sabotaged yourself, you will create lies. You will create ways to work around telling the truth and living in reality. And these are all from my authentic experiences that I speak. I only know this stuff because I have experienced this stuff. So if I'm saying what you will do, how you would do it, how it would play out, is because I had to also experience it, face it, and walk in that uncomfortable reality. So that is where I start, is to my sole purpose initially is to make sure that whoever I'm speaking with or wherever I'm at, it doesn't matter who you are to me, we have defeated the thought of self-sabotaging. Stop beating yourself up. Forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself to move on. Because if you forgive yourself, you can talk about it in a comfortable place. You can say, hey, I slept with John, Nick, Sander, whoever. You can say all of this stuff, right? Without feeling convicted, without feeling like you haven't defeated. You will be able to openly speak once you get over the thought of hating yourself, basically. So yourself is the key. That's where I start with everybody. I kind of, try to dig deep. Everything is always confidential. Everything we talk about is confidential. We can go so far as to signing NDAs if that's what they would prefer. If that's what my clients would prefer, if that's what women would prefer. I'm all open to that because a lot of times women do not pour out or they do not open up because they don't know if they can trust you. They don't know if they can, trust you to speak about this. They don't know how you may feel about it or what you may use it for. What fuel, what power?
Mhm.
No, girl, I'm
Right.
is here for you. We is here for each other. The whole sole goal is for me to help you get and push to your furthest potential so that you can continue to be an asset in this world. Or maybe you might even be able to be an asset in me. We just got to make sure that whatever holding you back, we break that off. Because you might be operating in something truly great that you don't even know that you operate in. So that's the whole thing for me. That's where I
So
start.
what are all of the services that you offer through Girls to Women LLC? What can people expect to receive if they contact you? I know the consultation is free, but after that initial consultation, what services can you offer them?
Accountability, sisterhood, life groups, coachings in ways that I'm knowledgeable. If I'm not knowledgeable, baby, I would provide the resources. So this is all non-medical. So with that being said, you can't receive I can't provide therapy or anything like that, but I can definitely help you find those services, help you call your insurance provider and we can get those going. I can help create care plans, to follow, set some long-term goals and stuff like that, help with some life basic things as far as and create, budgets and things like that if you're struggling financially or something in that area. And just the cushion, moral support, prayer, motivation, things of that nature. Girls to Women LLC, we also own a self-devotional workbook. We own chapters 1 and 2, A Girl's Transformation. They do specialize in significant trauma and behavioral health. Or if you have struggled with, if you ever had to experience sex trafficking, or if you are seeking to expand your education and things like that, it teaches self sufficiency and self stability.
And that was going to be my next question was about the journals because I've heard about the journals. So can you tell us how people can get their hands on the journals and how those came about?
Well, the journals are available on our website, which is www.nolongergirls.com. So we are Girls to Women, which is www.nolongergirls.com. If the site is not live due to whatever technical difficulty there may be, they can reach out to me directly on any social media platform. It is Brittany Aiesha on any social media platform. And Aiesha, Brittany is spelled Britt. Aiesha is Aiesha. A lot of people spell it Iesha, but it's Aiesha. So y'all can reach out to me directly in my DM. I'm always open and always available. I'm always gonna check it as long as God, have me here. I'm going to make sure that I am paying attention and looking out for those who may be coming my way. The journals, oh, we got a lot of reviews on the journals. I've sold hundreds of copies. Hundreds of
Awesome.
copies already. Several lives has been changed. Several women have started their transformation journeys. You can find more reviews and stuff about that on my Facebook page, which is Brittany Aiesha Truitt. Yeah, those journals, those some powerful things. Oh my God. Yeah, again, they help you create. Oh my God, like I need to take a breath to touch on that thing. Yeah. Yeah, the journals is definitely about reinventing your life. Both chapters 1 and 2. Chapter 2 more so aims towards you obtaining your education, building financial literacy, and telling you ways to seek financial guidance and tools and help if you don't have that, down to letting you know the governmental programs and federal programs that is available to you if you at all need them. All of that is listed in a journal. That'll be your journal that you can take everywhere with you. The journals are a nice, beautiful size. So if you carry a larger purse, your journal can go in your purse and you can use it as a reference to reference back to absolutely anything you need to reference back to. For me, I created the journal everything about the journal, from the colors to the words to the shapes to the projects to the daily quotes and all that. I mean, inside out, all of it, I had to create in my sleep. In my sleep, I'm telling you, I was eating, sleeping, and dreaming that thing. And when I woke up, I had a pen beside my bed. I literally had to sleep with a tablet in my bed. I had to have a pen and paper in my bed during the times of creating these journals. Like, oh my God, because I would wake up with another vision and have to jot it down, jot it down, jot it down. It took me a full year to create the first project, which is a girl's transformation chapter 1. It took a full year, and it took a year to do chapter 2. Yep, a girl's transformation. It took a full year because they are self-devotional workbooks. You have a daily assignment. It's something for you to do, and it's a task for you to complete each day. It definitely challenges you and widens your perspective. So until you get a hold of these journals, oh my God, they're a powerful tool. It's a powerful tool in itself. And I created that because I had to do a lot of self development and a lot of self work on my own. So to my
Mhm.
girlies out there who's not ready to trust, who's not ready to be transparent, who's not ready to be open, who's not ready to be in a larger community of women, to my girlies out there, this tool is perfect for you. It is a perfect tool for you to isolate yourself and get the job done. It's a perfect tool for you to meet the new you, for you to experience your transformation on the way that on your road, on your new journey.
That's awesome. And it took you a lot of time, which means that I'm sure that it's a great tool because you took the time that you needed to put into it to make sure that it had the resources and, like you said, the daily quotes that women will help women be empowered. So it's great to
Hmm.
hear that it wasn't just whipped up in a couple of weeks or days, that you truly took a step back and took the time to put in to the journals what you believe is needed for women as they're going through their transformational journey. So I really, really appreciate that. Now, as a mentor dealing with sensitive topics, Brittany, how do you practice self care and maintain healthy boundaries for yourself to avoid burnout? So how do you stay taking care of Brittany with all the things that you have going on so that you don't burn out and run yourself raggedy? Because I know sometimes we like to do that. We're on a mission to help other women, but we got to still take care of ourselves. So how do you do that?
The journals consist of a portion of me. The journals are the healed version of me. They're my best self, right? So I've completed these journals, even though I created them. It's my work. I completed them. I complete the journals. I may have at least 25 other self devotionals that I work on at home that belong to other authors that I participate in, other programs. I myself have a therapist, a psychologist, and spiritually, not only do I pray, use my Bible, and I'm always, finding ways to worship. I love the Lord. I allow Sarah Jakes to fill my cup often. I go right on YouTube and she just play all in my house. Sarah Jakes Roberts at Potter's place. Yeah. Yeah. So, I just get my education and my knowledge, from other resources, if I need them. So that's the way it go. When I feel broken, when I feel drained, I have to go and get my alabama box, ask the ballot box filled up. How you say it? It's alabaster, alabaster. I gotta go
You
get
got to
my.
get that box refilled.
I gotta get that box refilled. I gotta touch the hem of Jesus' garment. So that's the way that it goes for me. And during that time, that requires a lot of isolation. I have to shut everything down. I literally can't be on social media as much. I have to take time for my family. I have to take time from everybody. I literally have to shut completely down. That, yeah. When I get drained, I get drained. It whoops my butt. I feel lifeless, literally. I get drained. Being a mentor is not easy because you're accountable for so many other people and you hear them out, you listen and you feel their emotion. And that's why we could do it so great because we actually feel it. We actually care. We're compassionate. We love and enjoy what we do. It's not just a job, it's the way of life. And so, with that being said, when I feel that I'm dying, I have to go where there is life. And majority of that stems from the Bible for me. A lot of study. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Brittany, my last question that I have for you is what does a future look like? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's not the last question. My next question is how can people get involved in Girls to Women LLC? So, I know you have a Facebook group because I've joined it. So, I know
Yeah,
you can go on Facebook and join the group.
yeah.
How else can people get involved? What support do you need to help keep this mission going?
Love for other women to come and join the Girls to Women LLC Facebook group. There are other groups out there that say Girls to Women, but they don't say Girls to Women LLC. So we are capital G Girls, the number two, capital W Women LLC on Facebook. Girls to Women is all one word on Facebook, spelled exactly how I just announced it. Again, you can find me, Brittany Aiesha, on any platform. And if you find me, you're going to find Girls to Women because it's it. I share it on both platforms. I would love for other women to come get in the community, not only for healing, but also for leadership. Be authentic. Know that you have a purpose. Understand that your transparency is another woman's testimony. I say that all the time. Like your transparency can be someone else's breakthrough. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
probably another woman waiting for you. I may not be able to touch another woman like you can touch another woman. So this is why your presence matter. This is why your identity matter. And this is why we need to claim our identity and just enjoy, who we are.
Awesome. And is there anything else that you would like to share to the women and young girls who will be watching this episode? Any last parting words that you want to share?
You're gonna go through different things in life. You're going to go through different changes. You're going to continue to meet a different version of yourself. You have to continue to forgive yourself. You are going to always feel challenged. That's never going to go away. Just find peace in whatever the challenges may be. Find peace so you don't allow it to drive you crazy. You don't allow it to drive you insane. Accept who you are, accept who you've been, and continue to build towards who you're becoming.
Yes, I love that. Powerful. Continue to build on who you are becoming because we're not all that we are going to be. If you're still living, you still got more time to make a change and to improve your life. So, thank you so much, Brittany,
Yes.
for joining and for sharing with us today, to being transparent, to being open,
Aw.
and sharing your testimony and your story. So as Brittany said, you can follow her on all social media platforms at Brittany Aiesha. Aiesha is spelled Aeisha, and then you can join the Girls to Women LLC community on Facebook. National Women's Health and Fitness Day is observed on September 24th of this year. So, in honor of this day, on Sunday, September 20th, which is when my next episode will air, I'm going to actually be offering a free, yes, I said free, a free 30-minute virtual movement class which will feature cardio and strength training. And there's also going to be a new episode that talks about women's health and fitness. So it's twofold, not only a new podcast episode featuring myself, but also a free 30-minute virtual fitness class that you can take from anywhere in the world as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection. So please stay tuned for more information on how you can join. You have been listening to the Infuse You podcast. I hope that something said today will help you along your life journey. Until next time, continue to do you, be you, fuse you, and be blessed.